Welcome to another great edition of Scaling with Insights, where we bring in top industry leaders to share their insights of what's working well to scale their businesses. My name is John Russo. I'm a former CMO turned entrepreneur. Now I'm helping other businesses scale, grow, and measure their business for effectiveness. Hey, everybody, we got another great show today. I am super excited to bring Mallory Lee from Terminus into the conversation today. Mallory runs revenue operations for Terminus. Mallory, I think we had met a while back. I think you posted something about a CMO scoreboard, I don't know, 4 years ago. And since that time, we've collaborated on and off. But yeah. Thanks for spending the time. I know you got a lot going on, so thanks for coming.
Of course. Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely. And maybe you could just share a little bit about what is it that you do at Terminus?
Yeah, definitely. So at Terminus, RevOps is a department that rolls up to our CFO and our G&A function. And our team is responsible for all the kind of underpinnings that help our team go to market. So think about the technology and the process and strategy, as well as all the data and the insights that we need for sales, marketing, CS, and all of the groups that kind of collaborate together to bring that product to market and scale the business.
Makes a ton of sense. And I imagine one of your activities that you're doing there is you're probably producing some sort of reportable information to the CFO and up to the board. What kind of trends, if you are doing that, like what are you seeing there? What do you think is a meaningful metric to be measuring at that level?
Yeah, good question. So we do have a weekly executive team meeting. I join for the first few minutes of that call and go through an executive scorecard. So, no secret that teams love to kind of go scorecard crazy. There could be scorecards for everything. But we have landed on like one weekly cadence that works well for us. And the goal for that is to really make the scorecard as holistic as possible. So it starts with our retention on one side, moves all the way through to sales, new business, product usage, and marketing. So the goal is to keep our pulse on that entire business. And I think what has been really neat for us to do as a leadership team is to kind of weekly do this load balancing between where we are in retention and new business, but then also really considering how expansion plays a part in that to help us engineer what that net retention is looking like for the business. So with an increased focus on customer experience, we've got retention efforts that we're always working on. And then as we acquire new businesses and build out the Terminus platform, the multi-channel opportunities that are becoming available for our customers also present expansion ARR that can come into our business and help the net retention story that we've got. So on a forecasting front, each week it's all about kind of load balancing where we are on each of those metrics and kind of determining where we want to land for the quarter.
Makes a ton of sense. And this is kind of an interesting area when you say scorecard. We've talked a lot on our side about a single funnel, for example, in Salesforce that is account driven, and yet leads can kind of filter into that. Some companies use Excel to mash data outside. What's the presentation layer to the CFO or to the board in that weekly meeting? Is it, are they looking at Salesforce information, or are you taking that information, taking it in Tableau? Like, how does that process work?
The vast majority of the information is in Salesforce, but I do put it into a Google Sheets kind of presentation layer to get it all lined up for people. The primary reason for that is because a lot of our product usage data is not yet turnkey in Salesforce. That is something that we're working on. So I anticipate in the future we'll be able to transition it even more to become just a Salesforce dashboard. But at the moment, we certainly use kind of like a non-scientific, not very heavy lift Google Sheet to get that presentation done.
Yeah, it varies by so many companies. Everybody seems like they've got a different methodology there. So totally makes sense and what you're seeing there. Have you noticed any shift? And when I say shift, pre-COVID versus post-COVID. Pre-COVID world, we saw a lot of acquisition. Post-COVID, we saw a lot of the retention focus. Have you seen any shift either in your client base or even in your own metrics and your own focus within your business, given the environment?
I wouldn't say we've had a big shift. I think we've always had a pretty intense focus on both. Certainly when we were in the heat of all the craziness with COVID, we made some concessions for some of our customers and tried to help them out as much as we could. That emphasis changed slightly just on the commercial side of things. But I think that it did open people's eyes to the importance of retention. And, retention is the new acquisition. I think you hear people say things like that. So from that standpoint, I don't think it was a huge change for us, but I think it really increased the importance of an accurate forecast. And, we were meeting with our board monthly, if not weekly, during the heat of all of that madness. And the forecast itself became one of the most important things, just having the ability to see where we're headed and to have some predictability when everything outside seems so unpredictable.
Yeah, it's been a crazy time. And just thinking about your scorecard and your scorecard process, and even the dashboards that we're involved with, it's a process of definitions and getting people synchronized on the definitions and then presentation. Is there any advice that you would offer in addition to, what I just shared? Anything that you would share to if somebody's trying to form that kind of scorecard?
Yeah, I think that if you are able to kind of start with the end in mind and start with all of the teams involved, that will help you get a good set of metrics that serves everybody in one sitting, if you will. But even then, we iterate on it every couple of months, and then we think, oh, it would be great to now start looking at this. And I think that as you improve certain areas of the business, they require a little bit less intense focus, and it allows you to move on to the next area of opportunity where you're trying to get something, improved or grown or whatever. And that could present a need for a new metric. But my goal is to make sure that everybody in the room from an ELT perspective has something represented there for themselves in that call, so that we can, as a group, highlight the ways that all the different departments work together.
Great point, especially on that breathability or livability. You're always tweaking. I think that's an excellent point that you make there. How about a last kind of business question, and a little bit controversial one. I don't know how you guys view, you're an ABM company, and there are marketing qualified lead models that are out there. I'm probably the minority where I'm saying, hey, MQLs are not dead. I think there is value in feeding to marketing qualified accounts. Do you have a point of view on your leads or leads object or marketing qualified leads overall?
I do. Yeah, I think there's a flavor of this that is a little bit more account based that I like to talk through. And that's the idea of a qualified conversion. And what this involves is really, having this account universe well-defined in Salesforce is step one, because that's how you're organizing your ABM efforts and your sales team, your go-to-market. But when you have inbound leads that are continuing to come in from your programs, a lot of those inbound leads, if you're doing it right, they're going to match to accounts that are already in the CRM. Right. And we have tools that we use to auto-convert those leads and assign them to the right spot. So it will, kind of mask the MQL process there. But what we do is we assign a lead status at the time of that auto conversion that allows us to see that it converted because it was a pre-qualified account. So at that point, when I go look at marketing effectiveness, I want to see how many of our net new leads converted to MQLs or opportunities. But in addition to that, how many of our leads auto converted to accounts where we're already trying to get in the door? That to me is the basis of ABM. Like, the goal is to get more of your inbound population to look like your target accounts. And so I want to make sure we're taking credit for that. So we look at the broader definition of a qualified conversion.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. Like that marketing qualified account. And I think we share a similar vision there, where the marketing qualified account is the currency and the inputs may be inbound or outbound or intent driven through your product and other products. So that's an interesting way of how you described it, though. I think we get to the same outcome, just a slightly different description on how we get there. So very interesting. We're just last question. And I think, we were kidding around earlier about what you do for fun. And we were kidding around saying, my hair was as dark as yours before kids. You have 3 children under 5 right now, 3 boys under 5. So you probably don't have a ton of free time to be doing things outside of work. But if you do have time, like what are you invested in outside of work right now? Maybe with them.
Yeah, if it's not work or kids, it's pretty much working around the house. We built a new house probably about 6 months ago. So
congratulations.
Trying to make it livable is our goal. But yeah, love the DIY world. Wow.
That's impressive. That's very impressive. And plus everything that's going on with work and the added responsibilities too. You got that is awesome. That is terrific.
Thank you.
Mallory, I really appreciate you making time today, and thanks for stopping by.
You too. Thanks, John.